In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to break through a fat loss plateau if you're over the age of 40 and really struggling to get down to leaner levels of body fat like you used to be able to do. If you don't know me already, my name is Alan Jaramillo. I work with men all the time, and I've worked with over 1,000 men at this point in my career to help them drop body fat, build muscle, and keep the results long term. If you want to check out testimonials and all that kind of stuff, I have plenty of that on my page. Feel free to check that out. But in today's video, I'm going to be focused on showing you how to break through a fat loss plateau. Now, the first thing that I like to mention when I talk about fat loss plateaus is that you might not even be in a fat loss plateau. Let me explain. Although your body weight is not moving, although you might feel stuck, okay, you have to ask yourself, am I measuring progress accurately? Okay, and that's one of the biggest things that I talk to all of my clients about before they ever mention a fat loss plateau. Because if you're just eating healthy and you're kind of working out based off of feel and you're not showing up to the gym with a designed plan for you, then you're not doing anything that you can track and measure progress, okay? If you were looking at this from a business perspective, right? And a business was like, hey, I'm struggling to grow revenue. And you had absolutely no idea what your current revenue was, what your expenses were, what things that you were investing in and expecting a return. You would look at that business owner and be like, well, you're not tracking anything. So how am I supposed to look at this and say, how can I increase output? How can I get more out of this business if I don't know the numbers, right? Like that would be like a foreign language. It wouldn't make much sense, right? But a lot of people don't think that same way when it comes to nutrition. And I'll give you another example. A lot of people, they budget, right? They have their budget. And when they first start out kind of trying to make their financial independence or get financially literate, and they set a budget up. It's really, something that they pay attention to when they first start off. And then over time, they just kind of have a feel. They have a good flow of how things are moving in their life and in their finances. A lot of times people don't apply the same thing to fitness. They just think, I'm going to eat healthy. That's like saying, I'm going to buy a house and I don't even know what I'm going to save up for a down payment. Okay. So when you don't have the numbers that you're following, you don't have controlled variables, you're not in a plateau. You're just throwing shit against the wall, hoping that it fixes the problem. Okay. Now let's say you're doing that. Let's say you are already tracking everything, right? And you have everything controlled. How do you actually get rid of a fat loss plateau? How do you get through one? How do you break through it? Okay. The first thing that you have to look at is current cardio. Okay. If you have been dieting for a while and your cardio is really high, you might be at the end of all the progress that you can get for this point in time, because the only way that you can really break through a fat loss plateau is by burning more calories or eating less, okay? Let's say that we have a male eating 2,200 calories a day and he's already lost 10 pounds, but he's in a fat loss plateau. He can easily bring his calories down to 2,000 and increase his cardio output by 50 to 100 minutes per week, and he will continue dropping body fat, okay? He still has what's called a long runway, meaning that he still has plenty of calories to pull from if he really needs to, and if he has the time to do it, he can increase his cardio expenditure. But let's say that you're person B, and instead of being, 2,200 calories, you're already at 1,500 calories. And you've already been doing 250 minutes of cardio per week. You cannot fit any more cardio. You're at the end of your fat loss phase, okay? So what I would recommend in this instance is to what's called a reverse diet, okay? A reverse diet is basically where you stop trying to lose fat. I know it sounds scary, but again, if you want to be the leanest version of yourself and you've already been trying for a while, your body might have just lost all the fat that it can at this point in time that's sustainable, okay? You can always lose more fat. There's no such thing as starvation mode or anything like that. Your metabolism adapts, but if you eat fewer and fewer calories and you can handle it, you will continue to drop body fat, okay? However, that will run the risk of losing more muscle and decreasing testosterone further and lowering your energy. So eventually you do have to call it quits. And for our clients, we usually say at max like 4 to maybe there's some instances where we do 5 months of dieting down. Okay. And if you already are past that point, you should look into a reverse diet so that you can live to fight another day. Okay. And I know this might be hard to hear. This is just real advice from someone who's had experience coaching thousands of guys trying to do this. And you always tell yourself like, just 1 more pound, just 5 more pounds. Like, no. Okay. I've been there several times. It doesn't work like that. You always want more. So you have to either have the accountability from a coach to tell you when to call it quits, or you think to yourself, I can't do this anymore. I have to start reverse dieting. So what you have to do is get yourself back up to maintenance calories, which is for most people, if they're in a calorie deficit, it's around 250 calories of a bump up. So what we'll do is when we're reverse dieting, people will bump them up around 200 to 250 calories, monitor results for a week, and then we'll decide if they can continue increasing calories at that point. Sometimes we'll wait at this period for around 2 weeks or so, and then we will slowly increase calories over time. And that is how you implement a reverse diet. Now, you can either increase calories over time, or you can decrease the activity that you're doing. So if 250 minutes of cardio is what you're doing, it's unsustainable. You should probably decrease that first because it'll help your hunger. It'll also give you your time back, but keep calories very controlled. Okay. So that's one thing that helps a lot of people is the reverse dieting. Okay. Another way to break through a plateau is to make sure that your sleep and other things are controlled. So we'll talk about recovery first. I've seen plenty of clients really shoot themselves in the foot because they're doing everything else right, but they're not sleeping. So they're holding on to more water weight than what they think they are. They're holding on to more stress in their body, and they're not able to push themselves in the gym or allow themselves to reap the benefits of doing everything that they're doing because their sleep is very poor. So if you're getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night, you will lose more muscle mass during a cut. And the reason why that's very important is because even though your body weight might be staying the same, your body can still actually change. Okay. In the current fat loss phase that I'm in right now, I've been getting leaner every single week, but my body weight has been stuck for several weeks at around 203 pounds. Okay. And it wasn't until just yesterday that I had my new low weigh-in at 202. But I had to wait 2.5 weeks for that to happen. Okay. And that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Like your body can still make progress besides just looking at the scale if you have a trained eye to see it. And if you continue ignoring sleep, you're not really going to be able to appreciate those benefits because you're going to lose more muscle mass in the process, which is not going to make you look as lean. So I would really prioritize sleep if you can. That's one of the things that we do work with clients because that really makes a big difference for them. So we'll look at things like, what are their habits like at night? Are they watching Netflix until a late hour? Are they texting people? Are they, just scrolling? Okay. And sometimes I have to coach clients and tell them, hey, we're going to have to put the phone in the bathroom. For me, I cannot sleep with the phone next to my bed. And that's something that a lot of people find weird. I mean, our phones are very addicting, and I've taken it out of my hands and I've put it in the bathroom to make it easier for me to not be as reliant on my phone. Okay. So that's one of the biggest things that makes a big difference for our clients. Okay. Another thing that is very, very important to breaking through a fat loss plateau is going to be macronutrient distribution. Okay. So a lot of times, people struggle with breaking through fat loss plateaus because they're not really tracking any nutrition at all. They're just eating as the least amount of food as possible and, and they're burning as many calories as possible. Now, these two combined will definitely get you some results in the beginning. But one thing that you have to keep in mind is metabolic adaptation is one of the reasons why you will stop losing weight at your current goal. And if you don't know your macros, if you don't know your calories, then you will basically just be, throwing shit against the wall and hoping for something to work out. So that wraps up this point. If you have any more questions about fat loss plateaus, drop them down below so I can make a video addressing your question. I do get a lot of my content ideas from people who contribute and comment questions. So if you do want a question answered, just comment it down below and I will make a video on it. And if you have any other concerns, let me know. If you want to see a fat loss training right here, I have a whole playlist dedicated to fat loss trainings that is super valuable if you want to watch that. Or if you want to watch one of my more recent videos, please feel free to click on this side, okay? Or it'll be switched. I don't know which side it'll be on, but find the videos that you want to watch. Thanks for watching and give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful.